Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blazer Victory Podcast. John Duncan here, and of course, I'm joined as always with both of my co-hosts, Jimmy Marion and Darian Smith. And we've got another exciting episode for you guys today. I know it's been a couple weeks, but this episode, as always, is brought to you by Cahaba Brewing Company. And today we are going to spotlight the Blood Orange Blonde, Jimmy Marion's favorite beer from Cahaba. Right. And as of this past weekend, they still have some 6-packs to go in the tap room. So go on down to the Cahaba Brewing tap room. If you haven't had a chance, this past weekend they had the Cahaba Bazaar, and that was a massive event, really fun, live music, vendors selling stuff. I mean, they had the wait list full to get on there. Man, it was just such a good event, and crazy good times this past weekend. But if you haven't already, swing by the tap room. Let them know that you heard about Cahaba Brewing on the Blazer Victory podcast. That helps us out a lot. And they've got their, Christmas decorations up, looking decorative for the holidays. We're just waiting on that holiday blonde. Cahaba, drop that holiday blonde. That's one of my favorite seasonal beers for Cahaba Brewing Company. But as always, you can go to their website, cahababrewing.com, and check out all of their latest offerings.
Well, back to the Blood Orange, we had a Christmas parade here in Irondale. I think it was last Friday night. And so we went to a neighbor's house, a friend's house, had a bunch of other couples and families there and whatever. And I took those 2 6-packs that we bought a couple weeks ago when we were at Cahaba and was passing them around to give them to all the guys there. And it seemed like everybody really enjoyed it. So I don't think enough people knew about the Blood Orange, but I think we'll definitely be helping Cahaba hopefully get a few more buyers for it. So
love it. Well, guys, y'all aren't entering the transfer portal, are you? You guys ain't leaving me, right?
I'm out of eligibility. I started at 0 years, and Darian might have some.
Hey,
Darian,
man,
can you apply for a waiver of some sort, like to get like another year? We need a center.
Hey, I go out there and I give you 3 plays, baby. But I don't know, man. I was kind of just looking around the landscape of all these other podcasts. I'm trying to see, what other offers. If I get 6 figures, guys, I think y'all got to feel me on that one.
I don't blame you.
Just spread the love, man. If you spread it around, spread the wealth, I guess.
I got you.
But well, shoot, we might be a Jacksonville State podcast soon. But anyway, we need to talk about this transfer portal as it relates to the UAB football program. As of now, I mean, there have been a ton of UAB football players entering the transfer portal, as we expected. If you pay attention to the Blazer Victory Patreon, patreon.com/BlazerPod, we had a good idea of what was probably going to go. Some players are still mulling over that decision. And hey, after this episode drops, maybe a couple more will enter. But that's okay. We just wanted to record an episode, like tell our listeners about the general landscape of the transfer portal. And this is not just a UAB situation, guys. I think I heard what Georgia had 10, 15 players enter the portal, and they're in the freaking playoff. So guys are entering left and right into this transfer portal. And you've got the whole thing with NIL agents trying to coerce players. Say, hey, I've got X school offering you $50,000 or whatever amount, and they go into jump in the players' DMs, and some situations like, hey, the player really doesn't want to leave their school that they're currently at, but if they can make X amount of dollars, I mean, it's hard to blame these players,
Right.
So I don't know where we want to go. Do we have I should ask you this before we recorded, Jimmy. Do we have a number right now of UAB football players officially entering the portal? Or if you don't have an exact amount, or what would we estimate that is?
Yeah, So I would say the number's right around 20. There's some guys I don't think like even like a Lee Beebe is like on the On3 portal or CBS Sports, the trackers, if you will. But we've
He's
seen
on
announcements.
24/7.
He's on 24/7. So
Mm.
he's on 24/7. So looking at even guys that had entered before the portal, we had a couple guys enter like mid-season or whatever. That number's going to be right at about 20.
Okay. And I mean, you've got guys that are on 3 or 24/7, like an Adrian Maddox, where we haven't had an official statement from either, looking at his X account, Twitter account, or Instagram. But I mean, I guess he's in,
Hey,
but
if Adrian Maddox, hey, if you're listening to this, or Anthony Maddox, your dad, cool. Y'all listen to this. We love you as Blazers. Like,
yes.
you don't have to leave us. Like, but that is actually one of the guys that I understand. Like, he came in and he was probably one of the lone bright spots. Like, I can name out a couple of players, but he was one of the lone bright spots, and he comes from the SWAC. He earned it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to go into his senior year. Can't be mad at Adrian Maddox. I wanted to ask you guys if y'all could name out the top 5 that probably hurt us the most.
BB.
Well, yeah, BB's got to be right up there for sure. Townsend, because I wasn't expecting it. And I really wanted to see Rusall and Lee. Kelvin Hill, no matter what no matter what my top 5 is, Kelvin Hill's in there.
That's 5 right there, I think.
Yeah, I'd say those are
Adrian Maddox.
Yeah, Adrian Maddox is potentially, if he does go, that would be one. And all these guys are contributors in different ways, and we're Blazers, so we appreciate them. But the ones that really kind of hurt for me: Kelvin Hill, Townsend, BB, Rusall, Lee, and throw Maddox in there, 5 or 6 that stand out. Of course, Maury. Maury too. A lot of good guys.
What about you, John? What's your 5?
Yeah, I mean, y'all said it, but I mean, could you throw, Brady Wilson in there, even though we kind of knew, that was one of those ones like, hey, I mean, not speculating or anything, but he was probably going to enter the portal just based off the offers that we were hearing he was potentially going to get, and he's already announced on Twitter. But yeah, Lee BB, number 1. Lee BB, Rusall. Let's go.
Kelvin Hill.
Yeah, Kelvin Hill, Amari Thomas, and did I say Ricky Lee?
No, you didn't say Ricky Lee.
Okay, that's 5. Yeah, Ricky Lee. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Kelvin Hill. I'm gonna go Lee BB 1. I mean, I just feel like he was like such a heart and soul kind of guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that was a shock that for all of us. Like, we had not heard, and I bet that was a surprise out of the staff. Oh man, Lee BB jumping in the portal, but yeah,
it's just man, that's a good punch. I go Lee BB 1. And most people wouldn't even value running backs like that, right? Like but we do here. Our running back is a good running back. He could do everything. I don't know, man. That just sucked. And just seeing him as a walk-on guy, his brother is here. It just seemed like he was like, yeah, Lee ain't going nowhere, But I mean, God making work a miracle there. You know what I'm saying? Kelvin Hill hurts, a true freshman. If you listen to this pod, we love Kelvin. We always talked about how good he was, like our best DB, right? Like last year, and that's crazy. He's a true freshman. Let me see. Adrian Maddox, I would put at 3 because Adrian probably, if we talking about from game to game, for me was probably our best defender, most consistent defender from day 1 to the last game. He was our most consistent, and he had the best highlight of the year on defense with the 99-yard pick 6.
He had 44 tackles, so he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was 6th on the team in total tackles.
He was always consistent, just in the right spots. He just depended on him. And when we played the competition level up, he always leveled up. So All right, who else we had? We got Murray. Delano
You got
Townsend.
Townsend.
Townsend hurt. I would put him at 4 because it was not expected. I was starting getting worried. I was starting to worry about him during the season as we were losing, and he was getting better. He started off kind of rough, redshirt freshman, didn't have that many offers coming out. He took that left guard spot, got better as the year because he didn't start in the first couple of games. Then he started starting and he held on to it and he got better. I'm like, man, this is somebody you can build with. And then at the G5 level, it's hard to find those offensive linemen, especially young. We already had lost Luke Jones last year. We keep losing these like freshmen, redshirt freshmen guys, man. We can't dog, we can't keep doing that. Especially when they became the player. So we lost Luke Jones. We get Delano, happy about him. Then I started getting worried, like, man, we losing. He's starting to look good. We know how that mix is, man. It's kind of like we played Arkansas. You know they're gonna be like, Ole Miss already took one of our guards before. I'm just thinking like, bro, Mississippi State, they offered Brady Wilson, in which I'm not putting Brady Wilson up there because I didn't even know he had another year of eligibility.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so I thought he was gone anyway. But Mississippi State offered Brady Wilson. I'm like, and they probably was like, what is this left guard right here? Oh, he's only a freshman, redshirt freshman? Oh, man. And then I just started figuring. So I think that was that. That was 4 for me. And number 5. We got Rusall. We got somewhere between Rusall and Amari Thomas. I guess Rusall. I would go Rusall there because and Amari Thomas was probably our most dynamic playmaker, but we have Corey Miller.
Yeah.
And we have Cam Shanks. And I like what Xavier Daisy brings. I like the redshirt freshmen like Joshua Jackson type of guys that we can be able to, throw out there. And then you can pick up, if it's one position you can get out the portal, there's plenty of them as receivers. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get those edges and offensive linemen and stuff like that. But at receiver, you can get you a good receiver. So it hurts less. At linebacker, I mean, we got Tyler McNichols and Eddie Tusom. Jackson's like we don't have many linebackers is what I'm saying. And Rusall was probably, our most consistent, next to Michael Moore and kind of like that hurt. So I would go with those 5. I wouldn't put Ricky Lee up there because we played the whole year without him. Just like we kind of adjusted. He was great. Don't get me wrong. He is great, but we just played a whole year without him. He was hurt this year. So we played most of the year without Zeno. I thought Brady Wilson was gone. Who else we got? I might as well just go down the list.
Well, one guy we haven't talked about yet is Derek Shepard. I think he was credited with 12 starts. So that's someone that he came from Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
And transferred in and, started 12 games. I don't know if you guys have seen on social if he's been receiving any type of or announcing any interest or offers, but that's somebody that, was a little bit of a surprise for me to see leave after 1 year. Maybe he still returns. Dallas Payne is someone. You look at the tight end room. Yeah, the tight end room. You've got a guy that, looks like a beast and can catch and can run. And, you don't have a lot of production coming back in that room. So you kind of say, hey, well, you could envision him being the guy, right? But to see him exit and maybe look at some other opportunities is tough. So
Dallas was like one of our top playmakers. I don't think people really think about him in that way, but when you go back and look at the games, Dallas was like he could turn something small. It's like, oh shoot, Dallas still going. Oh, like he can turn a 9-yard gain into a 27-yard gain touchdown really quick. So that one hurt more than people would like to give it credit to.
Right.
Dallas, you can also still come back. We need a tight end.
Yeah, please. Please.
Yeah, and then you look at, we spoke last year or before the season started about Jack Nickel coming over from Michigan State, tight end, and he's jumping back in the portal. So that
1 year
tight
now.
end, that tight end room is, and I know, we'll talk about it later. We are offering, UAB's offering some tight end spots, but in fact, signed. Was it Gabriel Klein, a tight end? He was one of those 5 signings in the early signing period.
Yep.
For UAB. So, and I believe he, posted a highlight on Twitter, like he breaking like 10 tackles or something. So maybe hopefully he'll be able to step in soon. But just overall, I just wanted to, of course, people freak out when they see 20 plus players entering the transfer portal. But I think this is happening everywhere, guys. Like, this is just the new norm. I hate it. Y'all hate it. Everybody hates it. But unfortunately, it's just the new norm. Going forward.
I think it's about what players are entering. So on one hand, you can say Georgia got this many guys, or you got Alabama got this many guys, but do you have like the starters entering though? Like, that's the difference. Like, we have some real deal guys that started, and they may have guys that's looking for playing time. That's like, that's just unhappy about that situation. So, but that still could be our starters right there, right? So we'll see.
I'm just looking around. Like, I haven't done enough of this yet to consume all of it, but I just typed in on3 transfer portal, and South Alabama's got 3 guys now. One of their guys is like a top 15-ish.
The running back, yeah.
Yeah, Fluff.
Yeah.
But if you look at maybe something like, so South Alabama shows 3 on3. Troy shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then maybe you go to like a Conference USA, you look at the Jacksonville State and their in-state team. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, I mean, all 3 of those teams are 10 or less reported. And then, of course, if Jack State, they're probably going to have, and some of those, a lot of those are from yesterday and today. So They may have not had as many without the coaching.
Yeah, it's going to blow up. But you look at Charlotte. Charlotte has 24, right? So it's a couple of comps. Like, if you go to Florida Atlantic, they have 15. And a lot of these players are going to be in impact positions.
North Texas has a bunch.
North Texas had a bunch last year. You remember they brought in so many different guys.
Yeah, they got like 20 almost.
Yeah,
and they didn't have a coaching change because the other ones
UCF has 23.
Yeah, some of those have coaching changes. FAU, UCF, Charlotte, but North Texas is not, and they've got like 20 people in there. I think that's a good comp.
And two, like, you look at Tulane, I'm not sure exactly how many people are in the portal, but I mean, Mensa already committed to Duke, hopping in the portal and committed to Duke, and I believe the backup quarterback is going to enter the portal as well. So.
Oh yeah, he already entered. He already entered.
Well, he said the bowl game is gonna be his audition for everybody to watch. Like, I don't know how
UTSA has 8.
But...
UTSA 8. So I mean that's pretty manageable. Okay. I don't know the contributions of these guys, but I see Kavorian Barnes on here. I remember him running back.
See on 24/7 they have 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kavorian Barnes, that one. Didn't he start this Eddie Lee Marburger at quarterback? Didn't he start some games?
I recognize the name. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
I definitely recognize that Walker Beatty dude got whatever as offensive lineman. I recognize him, but yeah, like.
But Darian brings up a good point. It's like everything else in life. It comes with context. Like, you could have 20 guys, and what were their contributions? Where were they at development wise? Like, did they want to be here? Whatever. And then even beyond that, you could have a guy that was a good contributor, but then what are you going to do? I don't know why that's that. What are you going to do if? What are you going to do in terms of replacement? Like, you may go out there and you may find another fit. So all of this is kind of, I think, a good placeholder for us right now is to talk about, okay, well, here's current state. You've got about 20 guys who have exited, and offers are starting to go out, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But then we can kind of put some time stamps into here, because right now you look at the roster and you've got maybe 45, 46 scholarship players current, and that's counting like the 5 early signing day signees. And then You're looking at staff changes. You've got a lot that's going to start happening. Today is what, December 12th? So as we progress, what are we going to look like 2 weeks from now? What are we going to look like 4, 6 weeks from now? What are we going to look like spring ball? So it's kind of just interesting, like as we roll back the tape here in like 6 weeks to think, oh, well, we were 20 exits and hopefully some of them return. And then we had only 5 early signing day signees, but here's some JUCO guys slotting in, some unique transfer portal guys coming in as well. So hopefully we see that evolution and we're able to kind of comment and provide some content related to that for weeks to come.
Right. And I mean, you if you're Trent Dilfer, like you're hoping that, guys kind of did what Kobe Dempsey did last year. You could enter the portal, see what all is out there, and decide to come back. And
Can we
I
talk
know,
about that for a second? Like side mark or side road on that is, I feel like there's been like some conflicting messaging around that a little bit. Like either you're 1 foot out, that means you got both feet out, and then what's the success been related to people entering the portal and coming back, as it relates to that. I will just speak for myself. I will say that I hope that a lot of these guys choose to come back. And I personally don't have an issue with them looking for those opportunities because it's just there ain't no damn rules in college football. So it's like, why not give it a shot? Now, if they go in and then they get replaced, then they took that risk, right? So it's kind of on both sides, right? But like, do y'all get the impression that the staff is completely open to that? Like people, go in the portal and coming back, or TBD? Do y'all have any different feelings than I as it relates to people going in the portal and coming back? Like, John, what do you think?
I think it's just to each player is a different story. If Lee Beebe or Amari Thomas want to come back, you better let them like, or if, a walk, or not a walk on, but like a third, fourth string that put the graphic out on Twitter, let him go. Let him go. I'm at the point, man, like now, like don't put out a graphic if you're gonna enter the portal. Put out a graphic if you're coming back. Like, to be honest, but I'm sick of those anyway. But yeah, I think it's just a player by player situation. Darian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like whatever comes out of that exit interview and how that tone of that exit interview is. Like a guy that I've heard plenty in that building rave about character wise is Kelvin Hill. His professionalism and just how, the program he come from, the high school program he come from, is kind of like he is like a professional. He came in as a young professional, and I know for a fact that is a guy, not just because of his own field strides that he made, but just how the person he is in the locker room. I'm more than certain that he handled his exit interview honestly and was probably very open about why he was entering. So he's a guy that I can probably see them like, hey, man, we're going to do anything we can to keep you. If we can, like if our numbers just can't match it, then we just can't. But I'm pretty sure that you don't mind competing for a guy like that. You don't mind competing for a guy like a Lee Beebe. Those two type of guys, like a Adrian Maddox, because those three were like leaders. Let's like if we're talking about like Amari Thomas, of course you would love to have him back, but Amari played 2 years here, and he had good numbers. And he already, certain guys, they're gone. Amari got the Utah offer. I'm pretty sure more offers is gonna come through. I'm pretty sure Amari's gone. And I wish him nothing but I'm glad that he gave us the 2 years. He could have been. Yeah. He had a fantastic freshman year, and he was primed to go a year earlier, but he came back, and I respect that. Right, like thank you for giving. You didn't have to do that. Other guys I'm curious about. I'm curious about Ricky Lee. I love Ricky Lee. But I wonder how they look at him because he entered after being injured all year, right? So I wonder if they're kind of like, nah, you can go ahead. I'm curious about certain players like a Russo. I think Russo would have benefited a lot more from coming back for his junior year because I think he could have been more consistent. He's a good player. I think he could be a great player, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know the going rate for like linebackers in the portal, and I don't know how after, how highly sought after he would be. But I kind of wonder if it's kind of like, if he's feeling like I don't really like that, I can just come back. I wonder how the staff would treat him. I don't know about him as a leader. I've heard about Kelvin Hills and the Adrian Maddoxes, but I haven't heard anything about Rousseau. Haven't heard anything bad neither.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to know the answer to that one. Guys like, but we know the guys that are gone though. We know Delano Townsend's gone.
Yeah.
We know Brady Wilson's gone. We know Amari's gone. These are the guys with the offers. Zeno already committed to A&M, and we know he coming back.
Yeah.
But he has good reason to feel like he was not coming back. But I don't really know anybody else from UAB that's in the portal that's gotten offers. I know Kelvin Hill is going to get offers. Like Kelvin Hill is going to. Let's just stop right there. I know he's going to get big time offers. I'm pretty sure. I would be surprised if Adrian Maddox would be back. He should get big time offers. But after that though, I get real iffy about Dallas Payne got the FAU offer, but that's not a move up to me. That's a lateral move. I don't know. I can look. I'm trying to think of it off my head without going back to my phone and looking, but we named out 7-8 impact players, and then after that, it's kind of like good, solid, or guys that didn't, the Antavius Woodies of the world, the DeMarcus Smiths of the world. Derek Shepard started, but I don't think he wasn't Fish McWilliams. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, okay, that's how I feel. I don't want it to come off as shade or nothing like that, but that's just how my opinion.
I was talking to Brad Cummings the other day, and I was like just reminiscing on remember those few seasons in which it was like Garrett Marino and Anthony Rush and Tony Fair, and it was like UAB for a while just had some big old nasties like on that defensive line. What's
the guy from we had a transfer that came in that was really good. He's not talked about at defensive tackle a lot. Did he come from South Alabama?
Oh yeah, it's like on the tip of my tongue. I know who you're talking about. He was he had like 1 year left, I think. Turner. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Tyjon Turner?
No.
Who was Turner?
He was
good. Like, I don't know why he's not talked about enough, because he was like, he came in, he was an all conference player.
Yes, the South Al.
He came from the
Tyree Turner.
Tyree Turner. Yes.
Yeah.
That guy was good, man. We had some good ass defensive linemen. You paired them like Alex Wright and Jordan Smith. We had all of these good
dudes, man.
Yeah. But
let's get some of them.
I think we still have Merriweather. I thought Merriweather initially, I thought he was gonna enter the transfer, but he's still here.
Yeah.
And that, if we can start with Merriweather and Smalls.
Yep. You got Waller on the outside.
We got Waller, so I'm like, okay, we still got some blocks here.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. We got and we got whatchamacallit, that transition from linebacker on to the edge this year, and he had a pretty good season.
Schmear.
A couple sacks, Schmear. So we have some guys. I mean, I think Tyler McNichols had a really good freshman year.
Yeah.
At linebacker. Eddie, our guy, two times. He didn't transfer. We afraid that they might have wasted his year.
Yeah.
On special teams, like shit is in the red shirt in him.
We were talking about that. We go to the deep dives before the show. We're just sitting here. How many games did Eddie play? 8 games. Yeah. How many tackles did he have? Like, we needed 2 years of Eddie. We didn't get a full 2 years of that experience, but hopefully the last year would be what's up.
What I am worried about is like with Kelvin Hill leaving, Kobe Dempsey leaving, Adrian Maddox, who was our star, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, who do we have at corner now? Like,
you got Tyreek Watson, and you got That's
Ricky
about
Lee
it.
leaving,
If you,
Ricky Lee gone. Like we
yeah,
haven't. I know Trey Miles had been hurt all year. He's been dealing
yeah,
with injuries since he's been here.
Yup.
Jalen Ferguson, who we haven't seen. I remember Trent bragging on him hard, and he hasn't played. Right?
yep.
I don't know if it's been injury related. You know how they don't talk about injuries apparently. So
I want to see him on like kickoff return or something. Like he was like the track star. I just want to
mhm.
see him like get a kickoff and just go. So maybe we'll be able to see that next year. Just put him in at some point.
And it's certain guys that hit the portal that's kind of like, I don't know, like one guy that had I'm gonna be interested to see if they land somewhere. I'm really cheering for him, but Daniel Harris, he never
Yeah.
really panned out. He kind of moved all around. He went from defensive end to safety. Couldn't really gain weight or something like that, and just never really had big expectations of him. So
Mm-hmm.
I wonder for guys like that, do you even land anywhere? You got 2 years of no film at UAB where we needed help on defense. It's kind of like, do you just stay and just try to see if you can work it out? Because I don't know what opportunities. I mean, that you will get. That's the reality of the portal for the Antavius Woodies. You came from Florida State. You came here. You got defensive line, offensive line. You still you like. I don't think. Let's be real about that. Like I don't know, man. I pray for the best. My guys, I'm not dissing players. What I'm saying is I'm trying to talk reality to it. Some people, you got too many people around you. I feel like these players, they got too many people that just tell them like, hey man, just get man, you can go. I'm like, dude, it's over 1,000 people in the portal. They got so many. Why? Just think to yourself, why would they look at you like a Jack Nickel that came from Michigan State, didn't play there, you came here, you barely played, you hop right back in the portal. If I'm North Texas, why would I take you? But that's just my thinking, man. What y'all thinking? It's fun talking about this stuff. I kind of hate the portal, but it's a lot to talk about.
It is. Real quick though, I was gonna say, we mentioned a lot of defensive players. I mean, you're gonna have pretty much a new defensive staff this next year. So who's it to say that they're gonna just want their own guys, or for those that are jumping in right now, like, are you guaranteed to come back?
Good point.
So that's
good point.
It's just something to think about. But hey, the transfer portal is here to stay. It's going to be here next year. It's going to be here in some fashion in next 5 years. Will there be limits, or I don't know. But right now it's the wild, wild west.
Hey John, so one big thing to ponder on, and I've heard this from multiple people. The roster sizes get cut from 130 or 131 to like 110 or 105 or something like
I think it's
that.
105, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of players, and it's gonna be a couple scholarship players here and there. Like most of those are gonna be walk-ons, but it's gonna be like 2 or 3 scholarship players that end up in that, right?
Right.
So, and I think that happens in the spring. We're talking about a lot of movement there. I know we don't like the spring portal, but there's gonna be a lot going on. So I can see where it's kind of like we don't, especially this year, I wouldn't overreact too much because I'm looking at the landscape. I'm like, all right, it's happening everywhere. Probably not at this degree, or probably I would like to know. I would have to get more in depth on the impact players, like a Darian Mensah for Tulane. That hurts. You talked about that earlier. Like that hurts. Like that was a true freshman, and they just put that in. Tulane is a good program. Like it don't make sense. But anyway, the Duke, I mean, that's kind of lateral.
Right. Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably got that NIL bag, but
Well, y'all see it happen like every year. I mean, we talk about Drew Tuazama as an example. He's somebody that was playing a lot, for UAB. Came out of JUCO. I think he even had like a spring Ole Miss offer. I'm going back to the memory bank here, but we ultimately got him. And again, had a clear role. Coaching change happens. He goes to South Carolina and rolls over the summer. Didn't do jack, for South Carolina, and then still has another year of eligibility and goes to UCLA. I think he had like one assisted tackle this year, was not a player at all for them. And so for every Jalen Key, you're going to have a lot more Drew Tuazamas and everywhere in between. And so it is really interesting to see. I saw somebody hit the portal yesterday, and I'm pretty certain that this is who I was thinking of. But there was a guy, I don't know if it's Javier Suggs, who was like a defensive tackle. And I remember like the transfer portal last year, dude, I forgot where he was. Like I could probably figure it out quick, but I think he was at like, let's see here, was it Northwestern State or something? He was a graduate transfer from Division II powerhouse Grand Valley State. And he was just a big time player there, and he had offers from everybody. And so LSU is looking for a defensive lineman. He goes to LSU. He plays in 12 games, and he was credited with I think it was like 10 tackles, something like that. And I mean, so you just don't know what you're going to get. You've got opportunities. Yeah, it's a smaller level. Dude probably got paid by LSU. So for all intents purposes, he might be like, that's exactly what he wanted. But now he's back in the portal. And then now it's like, well, what is his value? Is it he falls somewhere in between? Where does he land? It is very frustrating as a fan to try to follow all this. But we were joking last night and we were talking. I was like, I would almost kind of enjoy if you knew how much money like a UAB had NIL like on the field, is like start kind of allocating it around. Like, okay, I'm going to put $50K here, and I'm going to allocate $100K in the offensive line, or I'm going to put $75K in the secondary. Like, it'd be kind of interesting as you start to think about like what you would do, and like that might be like a fun off-season topic at some point to see how each of us would manage our NIL as it relates to position groups.
Yeah, I think we ought to do that. It's like you should just give us like $350K. And just like see where you allocate that. Like how much do you put in the quarterback? How much do you put in offensive line here?
I'm gonna give me $100K. No, that would be a fun topic, and I think they need to put that in the video game, the college football NCAA game.
Man, that'll drive me nuts. That'll drive me nuts.
It's already driving me nuts.
Yeah. I would quit the game, man. One guy that you bring up him, one guy that kind of fits that bill to me is like I remember him because I wanted him years ago. I'm surprised he still has eligibility, but linebacker Rodney Grossi or something.
Yeah.
He's back in the portal. I'm like, dude, that was like 2019 or 18 or something. Yes. I remember he was committed. But yeah, he's a guy I think that went to Mississippi State, something like that when he first. Because we were close to getting him. I think he went to like Hueytown or Pleasant Grove. It was something like that.
Yes.
And he went to like Mississippi State, and it seemed like he was bouncing around. I remember him going to UTSA, and then I saw that he was previously at Ole Miss, and now he's back in the portal with 1 year left. I'm just like, what is his value? You should just be asking for opportunity at this point. Guess who got opportunity, baby? Come home. We need older guys. We need
a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, we can probably offer you $3,000 and some playing time. Come on.
$3,000.
Don't quote that. Yeah, don't quote that.
Dude, he even had a short stint at Arizona State during the spring. So he had JUCO, he had Mississippi State, he had Arizona State, UTSA, and now he's ready for the next opportunity. Come on home, Pleasant Grove, Alabama. Come on, we're going to recruit you to the pod.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough talk about the transfer portal for now. Let's talk for a few minutes about where does UAB go from here. So, Jimmy, what type of offers do you see right now this staff making, at least right now, December 12th?
Well, yeah, so just to think about the question, I mean, we can see reported offers, and just want to take this opportunity. There's a account on Blazer Talk message board, UAB Fan 23. There's a thread here, 2025 football recruiting. So we're going to source our information here. He does a good job of, outlining the portal offers and, even breaks down years of eligibility remaining, things of that sort. So we appreciate that type of passion. That way we don't have to do that. But looking at the offers here, I mean, you see a mix of everything we're talking pre-show. It's almost like, man, well, it makes sense because we do have so many scholarships available. But let's talk about just straight portal first. The first thing that stuck out to me was the amount of tight end portal offers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get a hybrid guy, 4 or 5 guys at the tight end position. Makes perfect sense because you look at the returning roster and you've got, go help me out, the returning tight end that we have. We only have like
Sibley,
one.
JC
Thank
Sibley.
you. Thank you. JC Sylvie, you've got him, but you've got really a lot of open playing time there. So tight end has certainly been a point of emphasis. And then you look at like edge, defensive end, like a lot of guys there. And that's Darian hinted on it earlier, like a really high end demand, position. So you've got to throw out a lot of offers. And then you think about the offensive line. So to me, right away, what I noticed as far as it relates to portal transfers is heavy tight end and heavy O-line, D-line. Makes perfect sense, right? And then on the high school JUCO, you're seeing a little bit more, and we do have some transfer portal wide receiver offers for sure. But I'm seeing like here, according to this list, like you've got more of the running backs at the JUCO, a little bit more skill position, DBs, athletes, things of that sort. But it seems like the emphasis is going to be, heavy D-line, edge, O-line, tight end, transfer portal. And then it looks like we're kind of targeting some of that running back, more skill position, high school and JUCO with some, again, there are some O-line and D-line offers. But that's kind of just to set the table for this conversation. That's what it looks like thus far.
And so, Darian, thinking about what Jimmy just told us, which position group would be the hardest right now to get from the transfer portal if you're UAB?
The positions that Jimmy just named out that was high in demand, it's always going to be linemen. Yep. You can find you a running back. You can honestly, like, and I say that in all respects to Lee Beebe. We all name Lee Beebe as our most hurtful guy that hurt us the most at entering the portal. With that being said, you can find a running back. Sometimes you can find a receiver, like you can find one out there. You can help develop them. One thing that, like, why Delano Townsend hurt and stuff like that is because it's hard to. We talking about linemen are big guys that they need to be strong and they need to be able to move. Also, they need to have IQ. It's just a hard blend to find, Maybe you don't find the star in the portal at the skill position, but you can find somebody functional. You sometimes can't even find a functional lineman. Like, you get out there and he just get toasted. You put Trey Moore out there. You remember I still get nightmares about him just ripping up. And guess what Trey Moore did? He took his butt to Texas.
Yeah.
Because edges and offensive linemen, guys like that, those are the guys that's going to be in demand. I was just in the video last year, Missouri, they had got that freshman edge that went to the portal. He was a 5-star, but you see their coach just jumping up and down for joy. He was a 5-star because that edge, because that position, you need guys that's going to put pressure on the quarterback. Point blank, they can change a game. So you need those guys. Well, you need guys that's going to protect you from those guys. And if you have a line, think about it. If we were to play a top-end SEC team, all they need is their line. If they got a line, it don't matter if we can stop the running back or not. If they have an offensive line that can just push us 7 yards down the field, what can you do? They don't have to dial a pass and play up. I remember when we played Florida, and I had fun that game, by the way. But defensively, I remember at first they was like trying to do this stuff like throw the ball and all this cute stuff. I'm like, oh, look at us. Look at us. So this back in 2010. I'm like 2011, one of the years. I'm like, look at us. Like, look at us keeping up. Then after a while, that's when they had Chris Rainey and they had Dempsey and running back. They was like, you know what? Sweep left. Sweep right. sweep. I'm like, oh shoot, they done figured out that our defense we can't keep up with their line, and they have elite speed at running back, and they just like forget all this throwing stuff, forget playing cute, and we knew it, and we was trying to drop safeties down and call all. It didn't matter what we called. It just didn't matter. They were gonna block us and run by us, and we had to take it. We were gonna like it, right? So that is the difference between conferences. So hopefully honestly, bro, I hope there's something coming down the line of where we sign contracts. Because what if Delano Towns is gone? We get Barry Walker in there. You know, Barry Walker, I want to remind people, was like the highest guy that we had to commit last year, rated guy. Barry Walker comes in. He looked good, by the way, when I saw him practice. He comes in, he has a great year. I need contracts. I can't go through like we have a decent line. We're like, man, look what we done found out. Cade Martin starts at center, Barry Walker at left tackle, left guard. Then we got Jordan
Hall.
Jordan Hall.
I always want to say Jordan Walker. We got this young offensive line that's athletic, but they can be like, UAB actually won like 6 games this year. Those offensive linemen, they young. Let me get all of them. And what are we gonna do? Those offensive linemen, if they really in demand, they can get $250,000, $300,000. What are we just saying? And all of us in here at this podcast and everybody's listening would say, you know what? I love UAB. I love my family more.
Yeah.
Are you making $300,000? I'm at work right now. I'm not. I'm doing this podcast. I'm not making $300,000. So
right. Over the next 10 years, I'm gonna make $300,000.
or you can be an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, or you can go get it in 1 year. Mind you, those deals are really for like 1 year. They just re back up, so you can make $1 million. Off 4 years of $300,000, you can make over $1 million. I can't be mad at that. That's why we need to sign contracts. We need to start trading players. Like, no, we can start trading or something because we need our value back.
Hey, I'll say this, John, is like as we're talking about this, I'm just thinking about it, is to piggyback off of what you just said, like what's the most in-demand position? That's almost why you almost have to pivot or go back to the strategy where you are prioritizing JUCO at O-line and at D-line, because ultimately you're going to bring them in. Let's say they have 2 years left. Maybe they redshirt one and they still have 2 years left. But even if they come in after JUCO and play one season, they got 1 year left. I mean, yeah, they could go, but they're not as desirable to the power conference teams. They got 1 year left when you can go out and get Delano Townsend, who has whatever it is, 2 or 3 years left, right? So it's almost like I hope that we kind of go back to that model where we say, all right, well, we're going to go build relationships with the JUCOs and go find Darian Smith and bring him in and have him ball out for 2 years. I just like that. I liked it because I feel like at those positions, it's just too hard, to Darian's point. You're just going to have this revolving door over and over and over again. And nobody's perfect. All this evaluation, all the film that people watch, the pros don't get it right. They get it wrong more than they get it right. And so to kind of lean in, but I like the fact, and you're going to lose the skill guys as well. But to Darian's earlier point, that's where you can go into the portal potentially and go find immediate impact guys, and you can suffer through that revolving door a little bit more. And so hopefully that's going to be and they've talked about JCs. They haven't talked to it to the extent of like position by position, but I do hope when you think about edge, interior defensive line, and O-line, just go freaking straight JUCO as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's the Bill Clark model, right? That's what he.
Yes, Brian Vincent's doing that at ULM as well.
Yeah.
Right. What's the left tackle we got at Green Bay right now? Came from Florida.
Gosh.
He came from Florida and had to go to JUCO. Well, he was at JUCO, and guess what? That worked out
Telford.
for us. Yep. Telly
Kadeem.
Telford. Yeah, Kadeem Telford. Yeah, he JUCO. Jordan Smith. JUCO. We get guys like I believe Garrett Marino, or did he come straight from Washington State? It was
he bounced around. No, I think he played some JUCO as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the weird COVID stuff.
Anthony Rush, JUCO. Like all these guys that we were naming earlier, almost all of them are exclusively JUCO. You had some random high school guys that kind of bounced in O-line, like you had like an Eli Ritchie maybe, like Trey Badowski, things of that sort. But historically, like we really went heavy like at the junior college level for those grown men, positions. So
and it worked out really, really well for us. So I love that point because right now the P4 is just making the G5 teams a 1-year JUCO. It's like, oh, you got a true freshman out there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's my player now. Thank you for developing him for us. Like he went through all those ups and downs. Like Delano Townsend is the poster child for it. No offers. It's only like a Western Michigan, something like that.
Yes.
His uncle posted a highlight under Trent's Twitter. Trent actually looks at it for once, said, okay, this guy can play. Bam, he brings him in. And they offer him a scholarship. He's grateful that Steve does a write-up about it. We get all the details. He red shirts. He develops. He's in the grind. I remember telling y'all over the offseason, like, hey, man.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember looking at this, like, this kid is working out hard. He's posting. I'm like, I like this kid. I think he's going to have a shot. He gets a shot earlier than I thought he would be able to get one because we lose Luke Jones. And our staff was like, you know what? And he wasn't even starting at the beginning of this year. Remember that. He gets in. He starts starting around game 3 or 4.
You remember, Darren? We were all sitting there, the three of us, for that first game, and wasn't he like in the first touchdown? Like he came in like as an extra,
as the extra lineman.
Yeah, he came in and just ran over somebody. It's like, okay.
Well,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember it was all.
I don't remember.
I think John was having a good time, losing his mind.
Yeah, John.
AAC champions, college.
Hey, I had that fun. I had fun at that game, that first game, man. Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Let's not rain next year at Protective Stadium. Can we just? I mean, we're talking about transport. No more rain at Protective Stadium. We had enough.
But yeah, just seeing all of that and just know that the P4 is making the G5 teams 1-year developmental programs. Like, thank you. Now we're going to at least get 2 years out of them. We're going to, before they declare for the NFL, but we don't have to do it. We just let y'all do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can actually see them go against college guys and say, okay, thank you for BJ Mays or thank you for whoever it is. So, yeah, shout out to BJ Mays, man. He was like one of the Ties rated top slot corners. He had
the PFF ratings that came out about him like every week, and then got a bag, and then he didn't just get a bag, he played. Like I feel like towards the end of the year, every time I turned on like highlights, like BJ Mays pick against Auburn, and I think he had 2 picks in one game, and I'm like,
BJ Mays touchdown, pick 6.
Yeah.
And when I say top rated slot corner, I'm talking about him at Texas A&M. Like I saw that came out, I was like, oh shoot, like this dude finna go to the NFL. He made a good decision, I guess,
Yes.
So he got a bag and finna get a bigger bag, but that doesn't happen too often.
Hey, can we get Delano Townsend's uncle a bag? I mean, he just he deserves it.
Yeah, shout out to Delano. Like when we talk about these players, we're not mad at the players. They played the game. This is how the game. If I was Delano Townsend, guess what? Ole Miss, Arkansas, whatever. Here I come because they finna give him the bag. I know Ole Miss gonna drop the bag on them. So shout out to them. We're just using them as the cautionary tales of what is happening right now. They
took McGee away from us and gave him a bag, and he started like his whole last year there.
Yeah, and I didn't even think he was all that at UAB. But hey, what do I know?
Man. Well, guys, I hope that all of our listeners enjoyed and viewers enjoyed this episode, right around an hour long. We've got some good hoops action this Sunday as UAB welcomes a really good Arkansas State Red Wolf team that just beat Memphis a week ago. So everybody, at Memphis, yeah. So everybody get down to Bartow Arena. I believe there's a doubleheader of the women's team are going to play first, and then the team, the men's team are going to play, I think, at 5:00. So everybody get down to Bartow Arena this Sunday for a doubleheader. But Jimmy,
Hey,
you want to send?
hey.
Oh, Darren, yeah.
It's funny because we was just sitting here talking about linemen, and I just get a notification in the NFL. Broncos give left tackle $82 million deal, right?
Ooh.
43 for Garrett Bowles. His extension includes $42 million guaranteed.
Golly.
Don't worry about the credit, offensive lineman. You're gonna get the bag if you grind. I promise you, you will. So that's why they are premium position.
Dear Blazer Jesus, just give us one of those $82 million. Everybody have a great week. Just Blaze.
Yes. Go Army. Beat Navy.
Oh my God.